Yo, 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 welcome to Team Radd Titan, and today we are going to be going over the Figurama Collectors Touka Kirishima versus Shu Tsukiyama. Now, this is a Tokyo Ghoul piece. This has been sent to us by Figurama Collectors to get our opinion on it and what we think. So stay tuned and watch two of the best guys in the business do this. Do you think they believe me? No.
Hey everyone, we're back. As Joe was saying, we are here today. We have been blessed. We've been sent the piece from Figurama to have a look and give our opinion on. This is the Touka versus Tsukiyama. So this is from Tokyo Ghoul, and this is kind of like an iconic fight from the series and the manga.
All right, so this is like I said, this is 1/6 scale. It's two of the more popular characters that are in it, to be honest. We did the review of the Kaneki, which is her husband, versus the Yomori. Yeah. That was actually a really nice dio as well. Same sort of scale, so they're actually a really good sort of companion piece to have together. I mean, what I do know about the character is that she is the main protagonist in the series. She's like, she's a ghoul herself. And she's kind of like, she's got some abandonment issues. She's a bit nervous. You know, it starts off, she's at school, and then she's working as like a waitress. Yeah, and then she's working as a waitress after school. But then obviously she grows up, because it's quite long. It's been going on for a while, this sort of stuff, you know.
Well, I love the end. Well, it's not like it's not long in relation to time. It's not like one of the things that have been going like Dragon Ball, which have been going for like 30 years. This has only been, I want to say, 8 years, maybe less than that.
Yeah, but that's quite a long time. I mean, it's surprising that these things can go on for as long as they do. We get well fed up with other stuff.
They drag them on. They drag them out.
So she's like, you know, she's suffering a little bit of guilt for the death of her father. She lost him quite young, and she's had to sort of like survive in the ghoul world from a young age. And obviously she deals with a bit of guilt because she has to, like, obviously they eat humans alive. So it's pretty brutal. So she's the wife of, she ends up being the wife of the Kaneki character, and she actually, you know, they're quite tight. And then it gets to the point where she gets into this scrap with matey boy over here, who's Shu like Ronaldo, Shu Kirishima, who's basically, he's a bit of a badass ghoul as well. And he can, he's got this cool sort of skill where he can make linear metal come out from his body, make blades and things. He can also use it to protect himself. So this is depicted in the statue here, where he's basically forming the blades coming out of his body, wrapping around his hand, almost like armor, and then it's forming the blade at the end.
But they'll have awesome. They'll have a kind of kanji kind of thing to them anyway.
Well, like, you mean their ghoul sort of power?
Yeah. I got to see this piece actually. I got to see the prototype in Japan. I was very fortunate to attend, and when I got to see that, it hadn't been engineered, and the big kind of flame wing that comes over, I know there is an actual name for it, but that wasn't engineered properly, and there was actually like a pole that propped it up, which I made. But
they trusted you to make a pole to hold something up.
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
And they're almost respecting this company.
Wow, yeah.
They're going to trust you. I wouldn't trust you to organise an empty drawer.
Well, it worked, and it held up for the whole convention. But their convention is only one day. But anyway, that's not
shush me then.
Anyway, so this has been engineered really, really well. I mean,
I guess it must be nice for you to see how this sort of has been done.
Well, unfortunate again with the Figurama pieces, where I've seen most of them at prototype level, and then seen them come into production level. That's something that I was going to get onto a bit later on. Is, you know, their prototype to production is very, very well done. You know, their standards are very high, and they do keep them in the production phase. You know, you sometimes can see drops in quality with paint, and also sometimes there are like details that need to be kind of dumbed down once they do drop tests and things like that. I think if we sort of go down to the base and we start off there, so
engineering this to ages. I mean, it comes when you get the box. We'll show you some pictures, but when you get the box, it basically comes with its art box, and got all the bits and pieces that are over here. So you get a certificate of authenticity there with your edition size number and such on it. You get a really nice instruction manual. However, I don't know if it's just ours, but it's really hard. The rose took us about 45 minutes, and it's nowhere near where it says in the book that it's meant to go. It says in the book it's meant to be over in this sort of smoky sort of area
bit underneath
here,
her.
and it looks a bit bigger than it in the picture, so it's clearly the prototype than it does here. They've sort of narrowed it slightly, and there's no hole that we could find.
Like,
I mean, I pride myself on finding some holes. But I didn't find any holes today.
Some small holes.
Some small holes to find.
I mean, like, I actually do think that the place that we found for it, there was actually a hole to put it. And we found it to go near the letter here, the love letter there.
Yeah, and the rabbit mask, which she actually wears when she goes out hunting.
Also,
which is a nice nod.
I did find out, don't jump to 15 and skip 14. Because you'll have to go back. So, yeah.
You're talking about this bit in her foot?
Yeah.
That was hell, man. That was hell. He was trying to, like, manoeuvre that in around her foot. I was like...
That ain't happening.
There's a big gap in
that's the thing is, like...
I reckon her foot goes right through that.
Sometimes when you assembled over 1,000 statues, you get a little overconfident.
How hard can it be?
And normally, that's a bad idea. And I never learned. I did that with the IKEA furniture yesterday. You never learn.
You have to do one practice run with the instructions, then you carry on.
Yeah.
Show the you get like this thing here. It tells you about where to put. You get a little torch in it, so it tells you where.
So you have like a stained glass window. Can you see that? Yep. So that's at the back here, and you actually do get a little torch. You won't get batteries if they're because most countries are not allowed to ship batteries to. So make sure you have the LR41 batteries
which we don't
available. We don't have them, unfortunately, so maybe when we take some pictures later, we'll do that while shining like a camera light through or something like that.
I'm guessing it sort of can hook around there. And it's got a little nice little thing.
And then obviously you get the UFO print.
It is actually a really nice print.
Yeah, good quality.
Makes me think of the Street Fighter fight. For some reason.
The Vega.
Chun-Li Vega. You better make yourself up!
That's great fight. I love that.
Yeah.
So that's all the pieces there, and then obviously you get them in that kind of envelope with that crest or like a wax stamp, which I love. I always love that. Only problem with this is it is true like to the old times where it kind of rips the paper so you know it's been read.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point of it,
purpose,
and it does that purpose, which it maybe shouldn't. But yeah, it maybe should be a bit more decorative and not actually stick down. But yeah,
I like it anyway.
I do. I love it.
I like that nod to the old times. Anyway, so like we were saying, if you go on to sort of the statue, when you get it, the box, you have obviously the art box on top. It has all the information written across it, and a nice print on the top, which will show you. You also get 2 layers, and obviously the more sort of the bigger and the heavier pieces are at the bottom, and then that's the other pieces at the top. There's a lot of parts, and take your time when you're putting it together. Don't rush, and don't do this at the arse end of a day. Try and do it sort of early on, start the project with the best energy. Have a coffee and some breakfast and crack on.
Definitely have breakfast.
Yeah.
First.
So
maybe bring a buddy.
Alex
do a buddy system.
Basically stabbed himself a few times pulling this base out because it actually has like proper thorns on it, like a rose,
The rose thorns are actually sharp, so do be careful. I'm very surprised that some of these I didn't get broken in shipping.
Snap.
They are very, very delicate. And as you see, they got the detailing then of the rose and the love story there that go around that, which again is a big part of the story. And I'm not going to pretend like I know.
Well, the thing is as well, I mean, in terms of like their sort of relationship, she's really wary of him. She don't like him at all. She's very uncomfortable about him and she doesn't trust him at all. He fancied her when she was about 14 because when she was younger, she was quite cold, quite distant, quite cold-hearted person. As it's gone on, she's developed more, and actually so has he. But he really liked her when she was younger, and but he sort of joined the organisation to get close to her husband Kaneki in order to kill him. He like got obsessed about his scent and wanted to eat him. So he sort of got in close, but over time that sort of weird obsession developed actually into a friendship. So it changed. Like the funny thing is with these characters is when you're looking at it and you've seen a bit of the episodes and things, is they develop quite a lot. So it's really hard when you're sort of you haven't got all of the lore in front of you to sort of gather where they are, because they go on quite big arcs. To be honest, it's very hard to sort of go, this is the kind of person
I just got hold of the Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
And there's about 140 episodes.
Nice.
And I'm just like, oh. And but they do in arcs as well.
That's the end of your life.
Yeah, they do in arcs as well. So one of the arcs was about Raoul, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's the last arc.
Oh, of course.
So,
135 done. And the last 15 to go.
Again, as you move up, there's like very sort of loads of details. As Figurama always does a really, really kind of dynamic.
It's almost chaotic, isn't it? It's like chaos. It's
but
movement
it's,
and things broken and flying everywhere.
But they always do that where no one's in the real kind of no one's been injured yet, no one's hurt yet. It's kind of in that position of it's about to kind of kick off. Shit is about to go down. And
first contact was about to be made, isn't it?
And then as you see, like they're both in a position where he could swipe her and she could kind of do something.
Don't give me that, man. She's in the higher ground.
Yeah,
she's
Anakin.
Yeah.
Don't
underestimate my power. Yeah.
And then, as you see, with like the typical kind of Figurama style, you then have the stuff going on in the base. Always like this kind of built up areas where they're kind of stepping on and things, and then you have all these like elements at the side again, the rose, the lead, so her mask, his mask, and then all these candles. When you're putting the candles in, they can be a bit little fiddly. One of them doesn't have a peg; it just sits there, so you just put it there. I tried to move it away.
It does actually have a peg, but the peg doesn't go in anywhere, or at least it looks like it has a peg just on the corner there. So either we can't find. You can see on the corner.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's a peg there. But when you're looking at the diagram, it's more standard.
Give me in 1 minute 57 when it comes back round. I'll have a look.
This one at the end is quite precarious. This candle here, but
yeah.
the way the flames are going give you like a rough idea which way round it should go, which does help. You've got all the broken battens, the wood, like smoke and dust kicking up everywhere. You got like the mask, and then you start moving your way around it. It's got all this translucent resin everywhere, which it really does well with the lights here. It captures a lot of light, which is good.
Yeah. And as I say, then you got the movement of his ties and the tie clips on, and then you got his kanji where he's got that spike, and then he's got this like spring that goes around. And we actually saw that, and we thought there's going to be problems putting it in.
What's the word? It's quite pliable. It's got a little bit of movement in it, so it actually went in no problem. Keyed in perfectly. It went in great. And then I love the translucent resin through the sort of stained glass window that's busted there. And I think with a light behind it, it's going to look great.
Yeah,
there's some colours in there. There's some pinks and some greens and some blues and some yellows in there, which look great.
Great palette.
Her actual wing is translucent resin painted. So the edges of it are all clear as you go through in the underneath and stuff, and you can see where there's all kinds of different paints going on. So I mean, really, an ambitious design, brave as well, really brave to do. I have to say, I didn't see the prototype because only Alex can answer how close it is to that prototype. But
I think they've done better with the wing. They've done better.
Yeah,
I don't think it was that good with the separation on that. And then also you got the flame where it goes from orange to red, and you got all those kind of the veiny parts going through it,
veins
and the colours and stuff. Word, and it looks like, even though it's it looks like a flame, and it has the clear and the painted parts, it also has elements of it still being organic, and that's really good that you can pick up on that.
It's got an array of colours in that, all sorts of pinks and yellows and oranges and reds and purples and things going on. It looks amazing. Yeah. And again, why has she got like one? Do you know why she's got like one massive wing and one sort of limp dick one?
Nub.
It's a bit floppy.
I thought you were going to say nub, because that's your
He's
word.
like, he should be a nub. He should be looking up and go, what happened to your wing over there? Maybe that's like.
Well, it's like Sephiroth. He's got one wing, and he's like, clearly they make him fly, but he'd be flying in circles.
That's not possible for sure. Well, actually, he would go like that and then just fall over that way, wouldn't he? He wouldn't even get a circle.
And then also, I don't know. But then it's just the design, I believe. But I don't know if she's lost one or if it's still developing. I don't know. You then also, if you look at the front...
I mean, this can actually go around his whole upper body to protect himself like armour. So the fact it's just gone around his arm tells you that maybe you're right. Maybe that's just the start of it spawning to come.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I really like this portrait. You do get two busts with it, which is really cool, which we've just stuck there on the edge just so that you can see them. And basically there's the head and the tie, and this one's got the head and the other wings that go in the back. So that even they have connecting parts that go in.
Again, that's something again.
But we put on the best heads that we think.
Yeah,
we
that's
really
something
like
again.
these as they are.
The Figurama do that. I do really think that most companies should pick up on. I do think that busts are something that
Underused, aren't they? They're rapidly massively underused.
Once you've kind of designed, I mean, I should probably know more, but I wouldn't imagine the cost of creating that would be, obviously the sculpt, to key that and whatever and get it the initial way, you have to design that, but then to cast it in things and make them to, the edition size and, I don't think it would add a lot on there.
In terms of costings, you mean?
Yeah. So
effort-wise, not crazy, is it?
But then again, I guess
you have all that. You just have to cut it.
I guess there are companies where they'll go, well, yeah, we'll make them, but it's going to add, $60 onto the piece. Do you want to do that?
Well, maybe that's the option to do.
Well,
Give
no.
people the choice.
Yeah.
We're all in communication now. We're all in all the groups.
Yeah, of course.
You could just basically say, look, if you want the bus for it, we're going to add $60 to the overall costing.
But the flip side of that as well is obviously it's not as simple as that, because licensing means I have the license to make a 1/4 scale statue with full resin.
Yes.
And it's very
Yeah,
specific.
it's specific.
So then once you say, okay, I want to make a bust stand for that, you don't have the license for 1/4 busts.
Yeah,
it
gotcha.
may be that.
Understand.
And it depends on the company too, how you can get around it.
The thing is as well with this one is I find that these are the most dynamic heads. Like they've got the most details and stuff on it. She's like going full retard demon ghoul on him, and he's sort of like got the half mask thing, which I just think it just adds to it. These heads, these portraits are a little bit. What's the right word to use?
It's like dancing.
It doesn't look like they're fighting.
Yeah,
his
looks
face
like
is he looks a little bit like he's in. Maybe, but then he's a stylish kind of character. He's quite like cold.
Or if he does fancy,
so maybe like he's enjoying it a little bit too much by his face. If he does
fancy her, then
Well, I don't know if he fancies her anymore. He did fancy her when she was a little bit less human. She's got better as later on, but you can see
careful because the head's not attached.
Yeah, I know, but she's
and the wings are not attached.
They are attached. Of course
they're not attached.
Yeah, they're in. They're not gas.
No, but I'm saying the way you're holding them. Just...
No, don't panic, you big woman.
I think about what would happen if I had picked it up.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, she's like scowling down at him with this like big eye, like, and the other part's covered, and he's sort of looking up at it like so. There's a little bit of a. I don't know what the right word is.
Like theatrics.
Yeah, almost like an enjoyment that we're going to have this fight. So maybe that works. But I'm really digging the half mask and.
I do. I'm the same. I do prefer
full
that.
Crazy bitch.
The only thing
I
I could kind of say is that if you have him with his mask on, then maybe the mask on the base should be removable.
Yeah, but
because that's the same mask.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So because it's the same mask, it looks like. Maybe that should be removable, but that's the only kind of thing.
Do you mean that bit there?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a mask. Could be.
It looks like his mask, no?
It does, but I don't think it's it.
No.
No, all similar. Yeah, I see where you're going with it. It's got like the big the triangle and stuff. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Scaling looks off though. Looks too big. But maybe
the other thing as well is, I mean, like with these.
Good call though.
With these anime pieces, I mean, obviously this is a diorama, but you have to look at these. You need quarter scale statue space to display these.
Definitely.
And also you would really, really benefit from having a motorized turntable to have this on to see all of the areas. It would be such a shame.
Or mirrored back.
Yeah, mirrored back.
Nice mirrored back.
It'd be such a shame to not be able to see around it. And especially when I moved house, I have so many pieces where I picked them up and I've totally forgotten about all the stuff on the back of them. I wish I would love to have displays all. Actually, it'd be well annoying when you'd be in your room and you're like, hey, all the turntable's turning.
I really love the flow of this, like leading up to her wings, almost like they're darts or things shooting out and hitting things.
Well, it is. It's her power, isn't it?
Yeah,
it looks like the end of her wing shooting off.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I think there's a fantastic. One thing I like about Figurama's collectors stuff is the flow of it. I think they have a fantastic kinetic flow that moves through things.
Yeah.
I like the way they do that. The details behind the back have not been neglected, even though you probably think, well, you're not really going to see that much of it. Smoke's been done and shaded or dirt, whatever that is. It looks like smoke to me.
Well, when you
look
look
at the sort of like rocks
when you look at the
things.
back of the Devilman, for example, which is I love the piece, one of my favourite pieces, my favourite characters, and they're working on a Devilman versus Serene, I believe, which I'm quite excited about.
Is that the woman with the wings?
The demon bird, yeah.
Demon bird, yeah.
Yeah, and basically the back of that one where it's got a similar kind of flow to it.
You can see the details.
The details not there because
that's
been more. That was one of their earlier pieces. I think that was done more with the fact that you know what, that's not going to be shown. We'll just leave that.
Let's concentrate on it. But definitely.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing I do like about their pieces is they do manage to capture so many elements and so many kind of Easter eggs into such a.
They've really thought about it, haven't they? In terms of like, because it's complicated putting it together with the box. A leg's got to go through that. The way it all sort of moves and sits around itself. They're very complicated.
Dude, you've got some companies who struggle with a museum pose without a tipping. So, you know.
Who shall remain nameless. Sideshow! Woo!
Yeah.
But, this is the sort of thing you can... this is the sort of thing you're not going to be... if you half-arse this, it's going to go all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Fair play, man.
Mm.
I mean, I really enjoy getting the opportunity to do these, look at these, to be honest with you, because I would never see this otherwise.
If you think, like, when you see the comments from Marvel fans, DC fans, or something along those lines, if you think they're bad, you should see anime fans. They're next level. They're next level.
But you know what? There's so much information to get wrong. That's the thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's so much precision in all the information they give you that if you're not on point, you're in trouble because there's so many ways. You go, well, that's not right. Well, that's not right.
Well, I think there is a difference as well. With the comic pieces, you do have the element of you have a real get out of jail free card. You make a Superman, and you just say, you know what? There's 80 years of Superman, and there's 50, however many movies,
200 artists drawn in.
So you just
how many films
well,
we're
giving a nod to Caval, and we're giving a nod to this art, and then you'll be able to get out of jail. But with this, for example, there is the element of this. If you read the mangas, for example, with Attack on Titan, the initial manga is drawn not great. So to go from, I don't actually recall what the artwork is like in Tokyo Ghoul. I've seen the anime, but I haven't seen the manga.
Yeah.
And you have a 2D reference art.
Yeah.
And then you have a 2D animation. And then you make it into this 3D diorama.
Yeah.
And the faces are the real. You would think that some of these faces are there. They're not realistic, so they should be simpler.
Yes.
But a lot of artists really, really have they struggle with making a 3D anime face.
Yeah.
It's weird. I
can sort of get where it's going though, because it's not drawn that way.
I had a whole conversation with a studio about it, and they were talking about some of the licenses they worked on, and they basically said what they did was they would scan some of the work that was already done to kind of like to get
blueprint
the blueprint for it and then work around it. Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a smart business sense.
Well,
smart.
Yeah. As what's already been approved as well.
Exactly.
So anything you want to add there, or?
I'm quite happy with it. I mean, I just appreciate being able to see stuff like this, to be honest, because it's so far outside of my remit.
Yeah.
I don't collect dioramas. I don't collect anime. So for me, I get to sort of have it in front of me, look at it, be able to put it together, because there's an experience with that. It's a weird thing. It's it's almost like a sensory thing of putting things together. Pictures tell a story, reviews tell a story, but when you've got something in your hand and you're building it and you've got this puzzle in it and you get the final thing, there's a feeling at the end of it of, that's fucking awesome. And I like that I get to see that.
I mean, we said we've been very positive about it, but what as well, if you were to say, look, okay, we need some improvements here.
What would I do? What would I suggest?
Yeah, I mean,
better book with more accurate and detailed where these things go.
Well,
it's not as clear as I would like it to be. The rose is in a different place. It's not in that book. I think I'm right.
Possibly right.
I think I'm right. I'm going with I'm right. Because that hole is spot on for it.
I couldn't see a hole in the smoke. The one we have And I have seen another review.
The prototype of this is bigger out here. And that's where the rose went in. It went
But I've seen another review and they've rested on as well.
On this?
Yeah. One of the things that I probably would look into was there were a few breakages on certain pieces. And I am actually very, very surprised that there wasn't more breakages. Yeah. And I do think that Figurama are really ahead of it with their packaging. They've done really, really well in the past. I know that, again, I've mentioned this several times, but I know the CEO, he did like a master's in
shipping,
logistics and shipping and things like that. So he did actually, he's got a lot of knowledge on that. But there were a few little pieces on this flame that needed to be
what was it like three of them?
There were
four,
and then there was there's a leaf on the rose as well. They are really, really delicate, and again, I'm surprised all four of them didn't break off. The way that they are so delicate.
I'm surprised there ain't more of it, because when you look at even if you just go with how many spiky, delicate edges, there's probably on that wing alone, there's probably well over 100. There's well over 100 on there.
I mean, there are so many.
Because on this wing alone, just here, this little one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's like 20. There's at least like 18 to 20 on that little one alone.
There is so many.
All this thing and all of this.
There are so many pieces that. I mean, that's why I'm trying to say that even though there were breakages,
should have been more.
I'm surprised there wasn't more.
I would have gambled more. Yeah. Looking at this design like this, I would have said this is going to arrive in bits. To be fair,
yeah,
we did actually pretty well if you think about it. I mean, that for me, I think that's a design issue. That I have to say that I'm not happy with that. Like the rose
should come off.
I think so. I think that whole front should come out and then be magnetised back in.
I agree.
I don't think it should be shipped like that. I think the fact that you got this heavy base, right, and it's going to be like move. I mean, the box of this was like, honestly, it looked like been dragged by tractors.
Yeah.
And when we got it.
So I'm looking at the rose now. Yeah, I
just
agree.
A big square. Just take it off and magnetise it back in. So you don't need to do that. You just lay it flat into a thing.
Yeah.
Done.
Because even if you were just doing it by that section,
but you know that that delicacy mixed with the weight of the base. There's no surviving that. One smash in the side, and that's one of them is gonna come off. Which thankfully, I'm surprised we ain't all four.
We've looking at that design. Yeah, that literally that whole panel
just come out. Could do the same with this as well. Could literally have these like keyed.
Well, I mean,
keyed.
I mean that didn't break.
Yeah, but I mean, you understand what I'm saying? This is the same issue. They stick out. They make it really 3D. The actual rose parts, the vines with the thorns, and that could just be keyed. Stem. Hold on. Yeah. So that could just be keyed. You could just literally magnetise and stick that in. So again, these are all little things that this all arrived okay. Like all of these parts that come off separate, they're all fine. It's mostly the delicacy with. It was only
those two elements. It was
that part there and a couple up on this,
and the rose,
which obviously is, like I say, it's the delicate areas on something heavy.
Yeah,
you understand. It's not all that, because there's loads of delicate parts, but because they all separate and they go in the box, they've all been fine.
Yeah,
it's the delicate but really weighty, because this is heavy. I had to secure this. You should use two people to put this on.
Well, what you have to remember as well is if you look at that design of that piece, there's not really any way you can sit that down without a spike touching the ground.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
only underneath, really, like your hand holding it like under there. You can't put it anywhere unless you want to hang on the edge of a table. There's
still this if you put it that way. There's big there.
No, I mean here.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but then
you can't put it
still have to rest.
There's all that on the top. Yeah, it's hard. It's tough.
So yeah, anyway, moving on, and
but that's it really.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I'm gonna critique it, I would say that rose should probably come out. These should be keyed in separate because
the stems didn't break. So I mean, like, you know, I know what you're saying. And
I think it could.
I think if that's
rattled around enough, they get.
I don't know, they haven't broken, and you know, that's survived. I could only go
by.
This
is really hard to actually say what they could do better with that, because for me, I think.
You would need.
There's no joins. It's really good because there's no joins.
As you say, you would need to kind of have it kind of the way, as you say, this part would be
like separate,
like a part, and then it would be kind of free.
Yeah.
And then you would have. can't even do that. Somewhere here to attach it to hold it, but
Yeah.
there's nowhere.
There's nowhere, but also the very best part of this sort of wing, the flame, is the fact there's no joins in it.
Yeah.
It's really organic and smooth, and it's got loads of things coming out of it, and it looks awesome. If you were to make it so that it's safe to ship, you're going to have to break that up into about 4 parts and have so many joins. I think it would be a bit of an eyesore. I think it would be ugly.
Well, it would be too many seams.
That's what I'm saying. So I think this is something that can't be avoided. Sort of like the Spider-Man Venom thing. You understand what I'm talking about? You know that fan art. It's the same thing. If you want it to look all sort of organic and flowing, you've got to try and keep it as little as many pieces as possible. And the big ones on that piece were the ones that broke.
Yeah.
It's the same as the wing.
All right.
But awesome anyway. I really like this. I mean, I actually prefer this to the Kineki one. I'm going to say that right out the bat. Prefer this one. Prefer this diorama for sure.
I prefer the other.
Nah, I like this one better.
I prefer the other. I really, really, really like the base.
With the heads and the light up
the
and
masks,
the things. Yeah,
and the light up and the
I like this better. I like the figures better.
Subway
and
kind of flashing.
The balance and the translucent res. I think it's fucking awesome. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We could be, look, honestly, with the way that we do things, we could be here till Wednesday. But, you know, we'll see you. God bless you. Let us know in the comments what you think. Please hit the sub button if you haven't already. You know, we're trying to obviously grow the channel and do the best that we can with it. So we appreciate the support and all of you people that are always with us. God bless. Good luck.
Mad love.
Peace.
Peace out, people.